We got a very nice surprise. Assassin's Creed Mirage is namely getting a DLC. We go to the Assassin's Creed Twitter account for the first information, and then I want to kind of go over some other things we learned, because it's free. It's all for free, which is kind of wild. So, here, Assassin's Creed Mirage players, we have a surprise coming your way later this year. New story chapter and mission set in a 9th century Alula. And if you're like, what is that? Well, that's actually a place in the Arabian Peninsula. That's what it was called back then, but now it's called Saudi Arabia. And I think this is probably a great indication of what a city like that could look like. And it really reminds me of the sort of structures we saw in Origins as well. So, yeah, I'm curious. I hope they make it with more. Obviously, just like Baghdad, they made that a lot with parkour in mind. Then Shadows happened, and we kind of lost that. But obviously, yeah, that game focused on other things. But I do think it's gonna be an interesting setting, and yeah, it looks awesome, even though things have kind of changed. But I do think it's gonna be fun to explore this, of course, in the game. They also note gameplay improvements for the base game and the new location. So, yeah, this free update will basically make Mirage much better, and it's gonna be free. So we kind of see some interesting things in the artwork that they shared. So this is basically all we have for the game right now. An interesting thing is that we see Enkidu, our bird, over here. And I'm not gonna spoil the ending of Mirage, but yeah, seeing the bird here means that this is probably gonna take place before the ending of Mirage. And also looking at the outfit that Basim is wearing here, this looks like the Initiate outfit. We can, by the way, jump into the game. Yeah, I think we're seeing this outfit. So yeah, that basically tells me that Basim is not a master assassin yet, when the DLC starts. And yeah, we also see this mysterious figure, and we're all kind of speculating right now that that is his father. In Valhalla, Basim told Eivor about his father, and that he was an architect of the Great Mosque of Samarra, but that someone else took credit for his creation, and then he was exiled. And kind of him walking like this, maybe Alula is where he got exiled too. So it was always kind of interesting that they had all these theses in Valhalla about Basim's past, and then we played Basim before Valhalla, and we did not really go into that they are now finally doing that. So that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, it looks like a big new area. Also, yeah, kind of deserty, like the space outside of Baghdad, but it should include a new city as well, which I think is exciting. We also got more news that is interesting. So for one, we learned that, yeah, the voice actor for Basim in Mirage, who is a different person that voiced him in Valhalla, is returning for this free DLC. And even Nihal is returning, because she shared this on her Instagram. So that's likely indicating, yo, I will have more voice lines in this DLC. And that would also, of course, indicate that it takes place before the ending of Mirage. We also got this video. They deleted this video, by the way, but I downloaded it, of course. It was such a weird video to reveal this like DLC as well. So yeah, Basim is back. Oh my god! And then they just like they basically have a new outfit for Basim that they very like casually and not professionally at all zoom in on, and then they add the extra things that this content will include. But here we see it. We do have actually a better image of what this looks like, as you can see right here. So yeah, looks kind of cool. But yeah, this also likely indicates that it's content before the ending, as he's not a master assassin yet. But this looks like kind of a cool outfit. So I really think that this has the potential to be the biggest free content that we ever get for an Assassin's Creed game. The previous record holder, I would say, is either the Forgotten Saga for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was like the big roguelite mode. That was huge. But we also, of course, got the crossover stories for Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Odyssey, where Cassandra went to Valhalla, and of course, in Odyssey, we basically got a 3-hour long DLC, sort of an epilogue as well, which was a lot of fun. So, but yeah, I don't know, like having a completely new region and a new city in a game like Mirage, I think we're maybe looking at like at least 3 hours, hopefully more content. So I think it's gonna be pretty extensive. And you might be wondering, why are they doing that right now? It's kind of weird, right? I think, like, again, the Odyssey content, that was the first time that they added new content to an older game. Because that released in 2021, and Odyssey came out in 2018. So now they're adding new content to a game that is 2 years old, while Shadows is getting content as well. But the reason why they're likely doing it is because of a rumor we had earlier this year. And that's that Ubisoft is making a surprising deal with Saudi Arabia. So what they say is, according to several sources, the French video game heavyweight has entered into a partnership with Saudi Arabia. This should lead to the production by Ubisoft Studios of downloadable content, also known as DLC, additional maps, levels. Again, they're a newspaper, they have to explain all this, that can be paid. Complementing the initial version of Assassin's Creed Mirage, the latest installment of Ubisoft's flagship title. This was January 2025. Basically, they note that a surprise decision, given that Ubisoft had repeatedly stated that the game was self-contained and would not benefit from DLC, but things changed in December when Ubisoft's boss flew to Saudi Arabia. I mean, like Mirage was a Valhalla DLC. First, Eivor would go to Baghdad, but then they were like, we can do way more with this, and we can kind of go back to the roots. So let's do that. And then Mirage was born, and I still think that with the time and budget, they worked on that game they did the Wrath of the Druids DLC that launched in 2021, and Mirage launched at the end of 2023 in October, like early October. So they had 2 years and a bit to work on Mirage. If they started on this Mirage content in December, and let's say it launches in November, that would be a year. So that would be half, basically, of the development time that they spent on Mirage. Obviously, it's likely a smaller team, but on the other hand, they're just adding to a game. DLC is always easier to make than a brand new game. So, again, I think this could be pretty substantial, and we hear here also that discussions that ultimately led to agreement for a DLC for Assassin's Creed Mirage, the development of which would largely been financed by the Zavi Games Group, according to our information. So that is likely also why they're giving it away for free, because for Ubisoft, it's basically, they're probably not paying a lot for this. It's a way for them to beef up Mirage even more. Again, they're also adding gameplay improvements across the board. They are probably gonna do a new version of the game where they're like, the director's cut or whatever they're gonna call it, and maybe put it out for Christmas. So they have like an Assassin's Creed game this Christmas, while likely the Black Flag remake, I would imagine, has been delayed to early 2026. Like, we know about the Zavi Games Group. They have their hands in a lot of different things. I think they also put a lot of money into Nintendo, for example. We saw that with Tencent and the Chinese game companies as well. They're investing in the Western gaming industry as well to get their hands in this. And I'm curious what their agreement was. If there are weird things in the DLC where it feels like, they're really, I don't want to say propaganda, but basically like, okay, Alula is a very nice spot. You should go there on a holiday. Maybe I'm saying crazy things, but I'm curious what the sort of implications of them funding it would be, right? But on the other hand, like, it is cool to learn. I'm always for, and that's why I think it's awesome that we get all these Chinese games now that teaches about, like, Wukong, about the Chinese mythology that we normally don't really hear a lot about. I'm, like, open to this as well. Like, let me learn about, and all the Assassin's Creed games do that, of course, learn about this region that I'm not very familiar with. And if Saudi is like, yeah, we give you money so you can do your research, make cool content, to give this this region in Saudi Arabia a nice spotlight, I'm not against that. So I think it could be very cool, and for us, free content. I think if they made this like a $10 DLC, that would have been, I would have been like, okay, I get that. But yeah, them doing it for free, having a nice reason to return to Mirage, probably with new gear and stuff like that. Like, I think that Mirage and Shadows can really live alongside each other because they're quite different. So I think it's actually pretty exciting, but I'm curious to hear what you think, of course, for this as well. So yeah, subscribe and let me know in the comments. Goodbye.